welcome to the very first season of the Irate Gamer Show, Remastered, which was filmed in 2007, and boy, that seems like a lifetime ago. But the main point with these remastered episodes is twofold. The first thing is I wanted to upscale these episodes into HD, or as much of HD quality as you could get out of these standard definition videos, because when I started this show, I used a crappy camera. I had no idea that these things would live on for 15 years. I wanted to fix a lot of the timing issues, color correction issues, and a lot of the audio was out of sync, so I had to fix all this stuff. Because back then, I mean, look, video editing software back in 2007 was terrible. So the stuff that you could do now, oh my gosh, it's just, if I had that program back then, it would have been a whole different ball game. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start at the beginning. Before I started doing the Irate Gamer Show, I actually went to college for video editing. And it was interesting because the college that I went to, they were trying to get kids ready to work at news stations and radio stations and things like that, which I got a lot of hands-on experience, which was incredible. But just to show you how old this technology was back then, we didn't use computers. We used those old tape decks where you edited from one to the other and you splice and edit. Oh my gosh, total old school. And like 2 years later, video editing on a computer started to become, I don't want to say more commonplace, but it started to enter that realm. So the first thing I did was got a new computer, some editing software, and it was very, very primitive back then. But, you know, you had to get your licks in. A couple years later, along comes YouTube in 2006. And one of the crazes that was going on around that time was ranting on video games in an angry manner, which of course was started by James. And back then he was known as James the Nintendo Nerd. He changed his name a little later after that. But the first time I found him, I was like, wow, this is amazing. The gears in my head were starting to spin. I'm like, wow, if I did a show like this would be really cool. And the more I researched online, the more I saw there was not just avgn, there was 200 other people doing the exact same thing. And I would have started in 2006 that fall, but I was hesitant. To be honest, I was like, I don't know, I don't want to step on the guy's heels by doing a similar show. So I waited, and around that time, another YouTuber asked James, and he did this in a video, he said, do you mind that people, copy your style and put it into a video? And he wrote back, he's like, no, I'm actually flattered by it all. So that was actually my green light to start this show. And I was like, great, cool. And I think I started gearing up around February or March of 2007. It took some time because in my mind I was like, okay, I need a name. I need to figure out who this character is. What am I going to review? And I thought of all these things. Truth be told, I had another YouTube channel before the Irate Gamer one where I was posting ghost hunting videos and things like that. And the one thing that happened when I did the Irate Gamer channel, people don't know this, but I actually posted a Mario video. I think it was that February in 2007, just to kind of see what would happen. And it was a stupid video where it was narrations over a Mario level, a couple different Mario levels in the very first game. So I went to bed, I woke up, and there was 2,000 views on the video with all these people commenting, and it just blew me away. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I was so new to this because I had my other YouTube account since 2006, ghost hunting videos. I would make a little traction, but nothing like this. So I knew, I was like, okay, if I do this Irate Gamer type show, it would be big right off the bat. So I really had to sit down and think, okay, what am I going to do? And I remember, as far as the names go, I came up with 2 columns. In the first column, I came up with all these monikers that described what a gamer was, like angry, irate, mad, yeah, it just, I went down the row. And then the second side, I had like other handles like gamer, player. And so what I did is I picked the best representation out of each column, and then the Irate Gamer was born. And now I was like, okay, well, what do I use for the video game? And I ended up picking Back to the Future because I wanted to do something with a storyline that tied in special effects, and I loved Back to the Future. And, you know, even back then I thought, if I could incorporate this time travel element and tie it in with the story, this would be great. So even back then, you know, I was thinking that way. So all throughout March, I ended up recording this episode. I didn't know, I thought this would be a one-time thing. And you can see with the episode, because I'm in my living room. I'm not even in a game type setting. I'm just sitting on the couch playing a game. Lighting is terrible. It's just very, very cheesy. And like I said, I thought this would be a one-shot thing. After posting the episode, it garnered a lot of attention. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll do another one. And one of the interesting things I should note when filming this episode is there was a scene where I shot my car going back into the past. And this was actually shot on a country road down the street from my house. And a weird thing happened. I was setting up my camera. I set it up in a way where there was this turn. I wanted the car to turn the corner, and you see it coming towards the camera, and boom, it flashes into the past. So I set my camera up, and I started to drive around the bend to come back and get the shot that I wanted. Well, as I was driving this way, there was this truck coming this way, and he saw my camera, and he started slowing down, and he turned around. So I was way over here. I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. Because I'm like, oh, he's going to go over there and steal my camera. I'm not going to have a camera anymore. So I drove as fast as I could back to that camera, and I skidded to a halt right in front of the camera. Got out, made sure I got the shot that I wanted. I saw this truck just slowly going by, and I'm like, I gave him a nasty look. I'm like, sucker, don't even think about taking my camera. So, yeah, weird thing that happened. And, you know, I always think, oh, there must be a timeline out there where I couldn't get to the camera fast enough, and they took off with my camera, and the Irate Gamer never existed. So, kind of funny. Yeah, here is the very first episode remastered into HD for the Remastered series. Enjoy. Now it's time to pop this video game in and play the game. Now the first thing you're going to see is the Back to the Future logo. This is the last thing that's pretty much cool in this game. You first start off in Hill Valley, and your objective of all things is going around trying to collect clocks, which has nothing to do with the basic plot of Back to the Future. But along the way you're going to have all kinds of things to avoid. There are things like trash cans, hula hoop girls, park benches, potholes, big bullies, things that look like coffee cups, what the fuck? And these two guys that walk back and forth carrying a plate of glass, which seems to be invisible to the naked eye until you crash into it. By the way, what the hell are two delivery men doing out in the middle of the street with an expensive piece of glass anyway? Can we say lawsuit? Now, if that still wasn't enough, there are these little annoying bees that follow you everywhere. And at certain points of the game, swarms of them come out and attack you at one time. Now, I wouldn't mind this so much, but these things were not even in the fucking movie! But there are so many bees in this game. You think Marty stumbled across a bee's nest or something? I mean, where did all these bees come from? Back to the Future Part 0? Marty versus the bees? I don't think so. Now, when you're playing this game, you're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. Like, what game designer thought it'd be a good idea to place a clock over here? Does he really expect me to have some sort of disturbing death wish? Fuck! And I bet the idiot who designed this game has some sick perverted pleasure in knowing that people are playing his game, getting pissed off, and he sits back and laughs his ass off. Now the gameplay gets old very quick, and you have level after level of the exact same thing. Swerve around this, dodge that. In fact, there are very few useful items to use in this game. One of them is your skateboard. And when it does appear, it looks more like something that would kill you rather than help you.
Now, even if you do happen to pick the skateboard up, it's not going to help you out all that much. All it does is make you go faster, and that becomes a big problem, because there are so many things on the screen at one time that you're bound to crash and burn into something. Now, while we're at it, why is Marty wearing a black sleeveless shirt? Shouldn't this be red? It's red in all the movie posters, and it's red in most of the movie. Sorry to be such a stickler for detail, but if we're going to slap the fucking Back to the Future logo on this game, shouldn't it follow as close to the movie as possible?
This has gotta be a dream.
I mean, geez, since we're throwing everything that's accurate in this movie out the window, why not give Marty a gun? It would make more sense for him to have a gun. At least give Marty a sporting chance to at least get through this level. Hell yeah! Time to get revenge on this hula hoop, bitch. Now, if you aren't hard of hearing, the background music of this game should be driving you to the point of insanity. Now, it's not that bad, but for starters, this music was not even in the movie. And because it's looped over and over and over again, it's gonna drive you absolutely insane. Now, providing that you survive the streets of Hill Valley, you end up in Lou's Cafe. It's nice and refreshing to see a change of scenery after 4 levels of the exact same stuff. Now, this stage may look simple, but it's gonna drive you fucking crazy. Now, the objective of this level is to try to hit the guys running towards the counter before they reach you. Now, it starts off nice and slow, and with the board set up the way it is, you have to first line up your shots just perfectly or they'll miss the target completely. But here's the catch. After you manage to nail a few of them, they start coming out faster and faster, and more at a time. It becomes a shitstorm of biffs. And I dare you to get past this level. No, wait, I fucking double dog dare you to get past this level, because it's fucking impossible. I can't do it. I've tried 50 fucking times, and I just cannot do it. Now, I managed to hit 19 of these guys, and that is absolutely trying my best at this level. But do you know how many you have to hit before advancing? 50. I can't even get half of that, and they want me to hit 50? Who the fuck was designing this thing? There's not even 50 stages in the game of Super Mario Bros. There's not even 50 weapons in the game of Legend of Zelda. And there's not even 50 stage bosses in the games Mega Man 1 through 6 combined. So why the hell do you have to hit 50 of them to advance? It's just utter complete bullshit. And if you don't hit 50 of them, what do you think would happen? You get to try again, right? Wrong. Instead, they send you back to the beginning of the previous level. This game is so bad, it makes every movie that Mariah Carey made look like a fucking masterpiece. This game is so bad, I wish I could just go back in time and stop it from ever being created. Hey, that's an idea. I think I'll do just that.
You tell Mr. Silvestri I'll handle all the Back to the Future games.
Mr. Caldwell?
Yes, Bernice?
Sorry to disturb you, but there's a young gentleman here wishing to speak to you.
Oh, go ahead and send him in.
You're just the guy I'm looking for. Well, looks like I saved the day. What the hell? Oh shit! I altered the timeline! I don't exist in this timeline! No! God, this game sucks! Why couldn't they make a cool game like Back to the Future? It was a cool movie. I don't know how you could fuck something like that up. Stupid games.
Okay, so after I put the first episode out, I got kind of an interesting reception. A lot of people that watched all this stuff on YouTube really gravitated to it, and I think I had maybe like 50 subscribers that first week alone, which that was really big back then. I think James at the time had like 20,000 subscribers, and the guy underneath him, which was the second banana, Armac21, he had 5,000 subscribers at the time. And there was a tier system. There was, underneath him, there was Urinating Tree. He had 3,000. Underneath that, he had Jediite and a couple others that had 2,000. And then under that, you had about 50,000 people that had 1,000 subscribers. So when I entered into the foray, I had 50 subscribers. I was nobody. I was just doing this stuff for fun. I wasn't thinking long term. It was just something to put out there to kind of harness my skills with editing and whatnot, which you guys saw me grow over time. So it was harmless fun. Yeah, I was taking stuff from other reviewers, but I didn't know anything else. I mean, what I saw on the internet is what I kind of threw into the show. I threw my own humor into it, and what came out on the other side was the Irate Gamer. So yeah, say la vie. I know people say, oh, copied and whatnot, and yeah, I guess I did, but that's all that was out there. And I didn't kind of develop my own flavor until this really became something that the fans really clamored for. But, you know, these first couple episodes, I think they're really cheesy. But the second episode, I was like, well, where do I go from here? The one video game that really stuck in my craw all the time was Where's Waldo? Just because the graphics were absolutely terrible. I ended up picking this up at a garage sale. And back then, you know, before internet reviewing of NES games became very prominent, you could go to garage sales and pick up a box of Nintendo games for like 15 bucks. I kid you not. Don't try that today because that will never happen again. But yeah, I ended up scoring the video game Where's Waldo, and I was like, what the hell is this thing? It was terrible. But here it is, the video Where's Waldo.
Back in the early 90s, kids everywhere became introduced to the book series entitled Where's Waldo? It instantly became a big hit with younger kids as they dedicated hours in trying to find Waldo and his friends. And for some reason, someone at THQ thought it would be a good idea to turn this hit book series into a piece of shit video game. Now what exactly do they think a game like this is going to accomplish that the books cannot? Well, time to pop this video game in and find out. After getting past the startup screen, you have the option of choosing your difficulty level. I guess we'll start off on the easy setting for now. No need to have the shit hitting the fan all at once. So in this first level, holy fuck! It's a pixelated wasteland of 8-bit objects. Just how in the hell are we supposed to find anything in this mess? At first glance, you see a bunch of things that are red and white striped. But is it Waldo? Nope. Alright, let's try this guy. At least I think it's a guy. You know, I gotta say, it would be a whole hell of a lot easier if the controls weren't so jerky and sensitive. If you just tap the button, the box goes flying right across the screen, and it takes an exact science just to get the cursor positioned in the right place. So after all that, this is Waldo. I'd have a better time trying to find a piece of cat shit. Hey, there it is. After you manage to pass the level, the game switches back to the main map and you can watch Waldo travel to his next destination, which becomes a long and drawn out process for some reason. And no matter which button you push, it doesn't do a damn thing to bypass his long trip. Fuck, I guess we'll just have to wait for him to get there. Come on. Once you get to the third level, the screen goes completely dark. Now how the hell am I supposed to find Waldo in a dark cave? The screen is almost completely black. Now there are various levels that take you all over the landscape. But where are all of Waldo's friends? Where's Wizard Whitebeard? Or the dog? In the books, they give you all sorts of things to look for in order to get your money's worth out of it. But this game has only one purpose, to find Waldo. So where's the replay value in that? Now let's just skip to the end of this game. So now the rocket blasts off and Waldo lands on the moon. For what reason I have yet to understand. But now, what the hell just happened? Now we're back at the startup screen? Are you kidding me? There's no ending or anything? This is the biggest piece of shit I ever played. Where's the ending to this game? And why is Waldo on the moon? I just hope we can leave him there along with this shitty game. I just don't understand why they couldn't have come up with a proper ending for this game. How about something like, "Congratulations on beating this game," or "Great job, thank you for playing our game"? But no, there's absolutely nothing, and it shows a complete lack of effort on their part to provide a decent game to the public. Hey, here's an idea. Why not create an ending that's being honest about the product? Something like, "Thank you for spending your hard-earned money on our game. We understand that you've just spent 20 precious minutes of your life playing our shitty game, but you'll never get those minutes back. You were all suckers." No ending. What the fuck? Now if that wasn't enough, THQ decided to come out with another Where's Waldo game. This time for the SNES. God help us all. Now this game is entitled The Great Waldo Search. After starting this game, right away you'll see a vast improvement in graphics. It's absolutely amazing compared to the original. So maybe this could turn out to be a decent game after all. You can tell that these stages have been totally revamped from the NES version, and things look so much crisp and clearer. One thing I'm surprised to see is the addition of other Waldo characters, like Wizard Whitebeard, and Waldo's dog. I can honestly say that for the first 5 minutes I was playing this game, I was mildly entertained. But I gotta say, the novelty of this game just wore off really quick, and my irate nature was running on all 4 cylinders. After you complete the second level, the game ends up becoming very repetitive, and your search becomes very boring. I really think that this would have been better if it were a side-scrolling adventure game. Now after you get done playing for about 10 minutes, and completing 5 different levels, the game ends. Now wait a minute, so you mean there's only 5 levels in this entire game? The original Nintendo version had more levels than this. So let's quickly do the math here. Now if you remember, NES games purchased back in the day ended up costing around $40. So if there's only 5 levels in this game, that means you're spending $8 per level. What a fucking ripoff! It's pretty much a slap in the face when you have other NES games like Super Mario World that have a total of 96 levels to run around in. As well as Donkey Kong Country, which has close to 100 very complex levels to explore. It makes you wonder how quickly they slapped this game together in order for them to sell it to kids who are hoping that they just purchased a great game. Like it just so happens to say in the title, Great Waldo Search. Great Waldo Search? What a great load of shit! Now after playing these 2 games, I don't care where the fuck Waldo is, but if I end up finding him anywhere near my NES system again, I'll fucking rip his hands off and shove that fucking cane up his ass. Do yourself a favor and avoid these games at all costs, because there's only one thing to do with these games. That's right, fucking shred the bastards.
Alright, so here we are with episode 3, which is Goonies 2, and when I look back at the first 3 episodes, I always find them very similar in style. You know, I was just trying to get them up, just to get them up, and just to get recognition out that Irate Gamer's a thing. So this was an interesting growth period, because I was trying to feel out the character and figure out what the show was, and the only thing I really had to go on was rant on a bad game, and at the very end, destroy it somehow. So that was the formula that I had at the very beginning. Now the reason I picked Goonies 2 was because my cousin actually ended up having this game, and every time I went over to his house I was like, oh yeah, Goonies 2, but I could never get that far because I was like, what the? I could not wrap my head around the gameplay of this thing. I'm like, how the hell do I advance in this thing? You go to the rooms and you're punching around and you're like, oh, this sucks. And then the whole numbering system got me thrown off. I'm like, why is this Goonies 2? Is it a sequel to the game? Or is it a sequel to the movie? What the hell is going on here? So I thought that would be great fodder for an episode. So I threw that up and voila, we have Goonies 2, the episode. And my favorite line from this episode has to be the very end, where nobody is acknowledging the fact that you just saved a mermaid, despite a news crew being there and, you know, people being arrested. So that was just one funny observation that I just absolutely love rewatching this episode. So here we are, Goonies 2, enjoy. Goonies 2. Who could forget this classic game?
Now before we even begin with the review, there's one thing that must be addressed. And that's the title of this game, which is called Goonies 2. Now, already I'm confused. So does that mean this is a sequel to the Hollywood movie, or a video game? Because if there's a Goonies 1 video game floating around out there, then I should probably play that one first. I mean, who in their right mind would play Castlevania 3 before Castlevania 1? The very thought of doing such a thing is just sickening. And I think it's punishable by death in a couple countries. Fuck. But I've been to a lot of video game stores in my time, and I never once saw Goonies 1 sitting on any retail shelves. So maybe, just maybe, there's a third option to this enigma. Maybe someone just royally fucked up the numbering system on this game.
I mean, this could be the same exact thing that happened to the Donkey Kong video games.
First, there was the popular Donkey Kong video game. Then after that, Donkey Kong Jr. came out. Then a few years later, out of nowhere comes Donkey Kong 3. How did this happen? Just what the hell happened to Donkey Kong 2? So, are we just picking numbers at random here? Or is Donkey Kong Jr. supposed to be the missing link here? If that's the case, then why aren't we calling Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong 2? It would make a lot more sense than skipping directly from number 1 to number 3. In the long run, doing this kind of shit just messes everything up and confuses everyone in the process. So now it's time for us to answer this question. What exactly is the real reason for calling this game Goonies 2? Well, there actually was a Goonies 1 video game, and this is the sequel. But guess what? The game was only released in Japan. How come it always seems like we're getting fucked in the ass when it comes to game selection here in America? Talk about a shitload of shit. Now when you first start Goonies 2, you'll see the bad guys from the movie appear, and they'll tell you that they've broken out of jail and kidnapped your friend Annie. Annie? Who the hell's Annie? Was she in the film? Well, I've got the DVD, and I know for a fact she's not in it. So now it begs the question, why does Mikey have to rescue her? Doesn't this town have any police officers to do this kind of work? And during the game, you also have to go around and help your other Goonies friends to escape. So how the hell did they end up getting kidnapped? You know, a little backstory would have helped here, because this video game storyline is more confusing than the fucking title. Now the main thing you'll be doing in this game is collecting items like a hammer, some scuba gear, glasses, and using them in rooms like this in order to find hidden objects. And that becomes a whole long process too. Anything here? Nope. Okay, let's try the hammer on this wall. Nope. Okay, let's try this room. Ugh, what the fuck? It would be more enjoyable to rip the hair out of my ass than to play this game. Now most of the time using your hammer on these walls reveals huge doors behind them. I guess whoever put up the drywall in this house really fucked up big time.
Now look at here, another Goonie to rescue. You're braver than Brand? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Oh, this game pisses me off.
But let's talk about these rooms for a second. Half the time they don't even make any sense at all. Now when you push the up button on your control pad, the most logical action would be for your character to move forward. But sometimes pushing up on the control pad moves you backwards right out of the fucking room. I mean, come on! Can we at least keep some consistency in this game? But that's not all that doesn't make sense. On this screen you'll see a gaping chasm to the right. If you fall into it, you die a horrible death. Now wait a minute. Over here is a ladder leading down to the next screen below. The exact same location where my character just died. I mean, there's nothing dangerous down here but another floor. I'm not sure why your character just can't fall down to the next screen below. Fuck! Now there are a lot of ladders and vines in this game that you'll have to end up climbing. But the downside is you can't use your weapons while you're on them. So when a bird or an enemy is coming at you, you've just gotta sit there like a bitch and take it. What the fuck? Now another thing that doesn't make any sense is when you die, you end up losing all the keys you've collected. I'm not sure why they chose to do this, but it just pisses me off when I really need one. Damn it, I just had 6 keys a minute ago. One of the greatest things about this game is the ability to hit people, or to smack them with your trusty hammer. Like this old, defenseless woman, what could be better than smashing your hammer into her old, wrinkled face? Yeah, take that! And that. And that. What did she just say? What do you do? That doesn't make sense. Does she mean, what did you do? I can't even take pleasure in beating her up because some asshole forgot to proofread this game. And how do you miss something like this? Every character in the game says this line if you hit them. It just totally flips my shit. Now after you've saved all your friends, you can now go and save Annie. So after saving Annie, we find out that she's not even a Goonie at all, but a mermaid. Boy, whose stupid fucking idea was this? This ending makes no sense whatsoever. Now after you save Annie, a news reporter appears on the screen and tells you that Annie has been saved and the bad guys have been arrested. Excuse me, but aren't we missing the bigger story here? Annie's a fucking mermaid! Shouldn't this be the top news story for today? I gotta say that finding a mermaid would be a pretty groundbreaking event. But just like this game, this ending makes no sense whatsoever. So, I'm gonna be like Mike, and I'm gonna use that hammer he collected and beat the shit out of this game.
Alright, so here we are with episode 4, Mission Impossible. And with this episode, you can really see the show kind of take a leap forward in what I was doing in the first 3 episodes. You know, I was really starting to get it, whatever that it was. But this was the first episode that started to show up on the YouTube leaderboards, like the most talked about, the most viewed. And of course, it wasn't most viewed on all of YouTube just yet. That happens later on. It was just most viewed, most talked about in the genre that it was in. I think I had it in gadgets and games at that time. So yeah, that was really cool. I'm like, wow, with the fourth episode, I'm starting to get on these leaderboards. This is awesome. So the reason I picked this game was back then, me and my friend, I stayed over at his house one weekend and we ended up going to one of these video rental barns, picked up Mission Impossible, and I gotta tell you, we absolutely hated this game. It was so damn hard. We were going through it and we were trying to get as far as we could, and we just couldn't get that far. This thing just pissed us off. And I just remember back then, look, there was no internet and this thing had a code system. So I remember going through a bunch of Nintendo Powers and secret tip books trying to figure out, okay, there must be a password where we could see some of these other levels. And lo and behold, we did find them. I remember going to the snow level and being like, oh yeah, something new on that Sunday. You know, the day of, we had to take this thing back. But Mission Impossible, oh, I hated this game. And I remember there was one line that I put in here, which was shitload of fuck. And boy, that caused so much controversy because that was something, that was a line that James was known for saying. And I felt so bad after using it, but I didn't take it from him. I actually took it from someone that actually posted that comment in, I think it was my Goonies 2 episode, because in that episode I said, what a shitload of shit. And you could probably go through the comments and look, but someone said, oh, this video's a shitload of fuck. So, and I read that and I was like, that's a great line. I'm gonna put that in my next episode. So I did, and I got raked over the coals when the show really took off and that whole avgn versus Irate Gamer thing started after I got featured on YouTube, which I'll talk about later. But man, I got slaughtered over that one, but it was very innocent. I actually removed that line from the DVD version, just, you know, to kind of appease James in the only way I could think to do. But for this remastered episode, I actually put the line back in because I don't think he would care at this point. So, and one of the interesting things I also want to point out with this episode is we start to see a game wall starting to be formed. Before I started doing this show, you know, I had a Nintendo. I had maybe about 50 games or so. And when I started doing this show, I'm like, I'm gonna need a library here of games that I want to review. And you know, was at a time where you could still go to garage sales, pick games up. I could tell you how many times I picked up a whole box of games for like $20 and just, you know, added them to my collection. That's where I got a lot of my video games, because I ended up selling mine off in the 90s, and I started to rebuy them in the early 2000s. So I had those. But one of the things I started doing once the show kind of took off was I started to go on eBay and buy huge lots of these games, of 100 games, 150 games, which you could get for about $300 each. And what I would do is I was pulling out the ones I needed, reselling the ones I didn't, and I got a huge library for very, very low cost. And of course, it was interesting because at this time, in the subsequent years, James and I would start reviewing these games, and every time we reviewed a game, the price would go up on these things. It was amazing. I was having an impact on the old school market of NES video games. I just really honored by that. But in the end, I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm still trying to build my library here. So that was, in the end, I was kind of shooting myself in the foot, but kind of weird how, influencing the market that way. So here we go, Mission Impossible.
Is it possible for Mission Impossible to possibly be a good game? Possibly. But fucking-absolutely not. This game sucks ass! To see why I'm so pissed off, let's start at the beginning. Your mission if you choose to accept it. Famous words, but it's really misleading. I mean, they really don't give us a choice in the matter because you can't choose not to accept it. Now there are 6 levels in this game. If they gave us the option of selecting any of the stage missions at this point, then this statement would have been more accurate. And why not set up the game this way? All the Mega Man games have a mission stage select screen, and look at what a hit that turned out to be. Now if you bothered to read any of the storyline, your objective is to save Dr. O from a criminal organization. So after you get your message, it says it will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Well, motherfucker! Now, after you get done replacing your Nintendo system, it's on to level 1. You begin the stage in the middle of the street, and for some reason you'll be staring down at the character's head and shoulders the whole entire time. To me, it's kind of an odd camera angle to get used to. One of the first things you'll notice is that innocent civilians are walking down the street, but don't dare lay a finger on them or else this big helicopter will come in and take your ass away. Indeed, it's funny at first, but it soon becomes a pain in the ass because you don't know who's going to come after you and who to go after. And it really flips my shit because sometimes the person you need to hit is standing in between the people you're not supposed to hit. And don't even think about walking in the street either. Fuck! Now the character setup is kind of unique. You have 3 characters to switch between, and each one of them has their own weapons and special abilities. But the downside is that they start with very little energy, and each one of them has only 1 life. The odds are really stacked against you. Now if you think this is just a normal side-scrolling beat up the bad guys game, then guess again. In each of the levels, you'll have to go around fighting off enemies while solving puzzles in order to advance in the game. Like in the first level, your main objective is to find 5 of these switches and turn them in off position. Now that should be an easy task, but it's far from it. This level is fucking huge, and the game developers jam-packed every screen with a shitload of enemies ready to cap your ass at every turn. In other words, expect to die often. And let's just talk about what happens after you die, because that's a whole nother thing that pisses me off. After losing your last life, you'll end up on a screen that will let you continue or just get your password. Now if you choose to continue, you don't get to start where you just left off. Instead, the whole entire level resets itself. So that means I've got to start all the way back at the beginning of the level, recollect everything I've picked up, and also have to do everything all over again? What a shitload of fuck! Well, enough of this bullshit. It's time to get on the internet to find some passwords. Now, either if you decide to cheat, or manage to pass level 1, you end up on level 2, which takes you on a boat ride from hell. The controls are a little jerky here, and the stage is jam-packed with obstacles just like level 1. There's also a lot of enemies that will be following you and trying to kill you in the process. So it looks like we're going to have to go turbo for this round.
Okay, here we go.
Well, this is fucking pointless. They only let me fire off 3 bullets at a time. What a ripoff! So having turbo in this game is absolutely pointless. Ah, shitballs! Okay, let's try level 3. Now you enter into what looks like a church, and this time there are no innocent bystanders walking around. So go ahead and blast anyone you want. This guy, or this guy. What makes it worse is that there are a lot more enemies on this stage, and even more confusing puzzles to figure out. It wouldn't be a bad game if it wasn't so damn hard. Now in this room, you've got to cross multiple conveyor belts running at all different speeds. Okay, let's try this first guy.
Fuck!
Okay, I've only got one more guy left.
Shit!
I'm just so pissed off right now. I just cannot continue the review. My head is spinning and I feel like I'm losing my mind. Just do me a favor and stay away from this game. Because the only plus side is that it actually lives up to its name. This mission is truly fucking impossible. With that being said, there's only one more thing to do. Send this thing back to hell where it came from.
Alright, so here we are with episode 5, Ghosts and Goblins, and up until this point, this is probably one of my most popular episodes of season 1 because there's just so much going on in this one. We have Satan showing up for the first time in a very comedic fashion. Joey shows up for the very first time in another comedic fashion. At this point in time, my popularity was increasing. People were asking for more episodes and I was starting to dedicate more time to the show. And this was a big turning point for me personally because you could just tell with this episode, my acting's getting better, my script reading is getting better, the script is getting better, the comedy is just starting to gel. And I'm starting to really get a fan base going. I think maybe I had about 400, 500 fans around this point, somewhere around there. And I was really starting to getting a feel for the show. I'm starting to incorporate a secondary tier of characters, which at this point I didn't think they were recur. I was just throwing in for plot devices. So the reason I did Ghosts and Goblins, this was for a Halloween episode. It was around Halloween time. And I remember Ghosts and Goblins was one of the very first video games that I got and owned. And I remember playing this game. It was so damn hard. I could not get past this first level. I don't think I could even get past the first mid-boss. And so I was stuck with this game. And I remember playing through this game, and I played this for years and years and years, and I could not get past that first god dang level. Oh, this thing pissed me off. So I wanted to translate my anger onto the film and be like, I'm so angry with this game. And I think I delivered with this one. But this was a great game to rant on. It was so damn hard. And then, of course, once you get to the end, I didn't realize this, but you had to beat it a second time just to officially beat this game. And I ended up using some footage from the arcade version because there's no codes for the NES version. So I really wanted to see what the hell lied beyond that first level. And yeah, I did it the only way I knew how. So I threw the arcade version in as some of the footage. And one of the things that irks me about this episode was, as far as I know, I was the very first person to go on YouTube and portray a little kid playing video games, and I sped up my voice, and a couple years later, out comes this video of this guy that got super huge, of Fred, where he did the same thing. He portrays an older guy pretending to be a little kid, speeding up his voice, and I remember he got big. I'm like, holy shit, that's the concept of Joey. I could not believe it. I was like, I should have done something like that. So that just stuck in my craw for years after. Like, I kicked myself in the butt many times after that. I should have just done a Joey show before Fred even became a thing. And man, but it is what it is. So here we go, Ghosts and Goblins. When somebody asks you for a list of the most difficult games for the NES, I guarantee that Ghosts and Goblins probably quickly comes to mind.
If not, then it's time to make some room, because we're busting this game wide open. Now before playing the game, you're shown some backstory. And it turns out to be the same classic romantic tale of guy and girl fall in love, guy and girl go out for a picnic, girl then gets kidnapped by the devil, and takes her back down to hell with them. This is some heavy shit. Now once the game begins, you take control of the main character, which is named Arthur. Your main goal is to go around and slash your way through 6 stages of ghosts and goblins in order to save your girlfriend. But here's the downside, and this one's a doozy. Get hit twice, and you become maggot food. Shit! Now, avoiding to get hit twice shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it is. The levels are huge, they're hard, and they're filled to the brim with a fuckload of enemies. I mean, look at this shit. You aren't even given enough room to breathe. The first time you get hit, your armor will fall apart, leaving you to defend yourself in your tighty whities. Your only chance now is to hope that these demons will take one look at you and double over from laughter. But I assure you this game is no laughing matter. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But my main beef is this fucking suit of armor. Armor made out of metal should be durable enough for any battle. And for one hit by a demon to totally destroy it is complete utter bullshit. Now each time you start a new life, the screen will side scroll past every level that lies ahead, as if to mock you.
Face it, Arthur, you'll never get this far. Excuse me.
Along your journey, you're going to encounter a lot of enemies, each one more powerful than the last. So count on cheating if you intend on seeing anything past level 1. Because there's nothing, absolutely nothing in this game that will help you against the 2 hits and you're dead bullshit. That means no magic mushrooms, no red hearts, not even a fucking power pellet. But what they will give you is a lame ass fireball weapon. This piece of shit is awkward to use and it will hit your target 1/4 of the time. If you see it, just avoid it. And another thing I don't understand is that sometimes enemies will drop little bear statues that give you points. Points? Is that really necessary? For God's sake, I've got to worry about zombies, bats, demons, plants, dragons, ogres, ghosts, goblins, demon knights, rancors, skeletons, and they want me to worry about some fucking point system too? How the hell is that going to matter once you save the princess? It won't, so fuck the point system. I'm really wondering what kind of age group this game was intended for, because if I can't get this far, how is a young kid going to do any better? Well, that's why I invited my little cousin Joey over to see what he thinks of this game. How you doing, Joey?
I like games. I like games. Ghosts and goblins. Ghosts and goblins. Okay. I don't like this game. This game sucks.
Well, thanks, Joey. Now, once you pass level 1, you find that each stage is harder than the next. And one annoying thing is these annoying floating eyeball platforms. Each one moves at a different speed, which makes moving from one to the next very difficult. And if you don't jump in time, you'll be knocked off your platform completely. Damn it! So, if you're lucky enough to survive the onslaught of enemies, you'll find yourself at the end of stage 5 to fight off 2 giant bats. Now, once you defeat them, it's on to the last battle, right? Well, you better have been lucky enough to find this special shield, or you ain't going nowhere. In fact, you're going right back to the beginning of level 4. Yes, you heard me correctly, back to the beginning of stage fucking 4. Now, once you find the shield and make it back, then it's on to the final battle. And this is it, the war between good and evil ensues, a battle of wills, a battle of wits, and a battle of... This room is an illusion, a trap devised by Satan? And now they sent me back to level 1 to beat this game a second time? Fuck!
You douchebag! I tricked you again!
The most asinine thing about this game is to truly beat it, you have to go through and beat it a second time. So that means twice the ghosts, twice the goblins, and twice the bullshit. But this time, it's personal. At last, the final stage, and it's time to take Satan down once and for all. Now let's blow this thing, kid, and go home! So after defeating the game twice, we finally reach the end. But wait just a damn minute! This story is happy end? Happy end? Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that somebody forgot to proofread this thing? I mean, this should read, this story is a happy ending. And I'm pretty sure congratulations has an S at the end. And with only 4 parts of this game requiring text, how the fuck does this even happen?
You can't even enjoy your victory. I must quit smoking.
Well, that's it. I cannot take any more. I've had enough of this fucking game. It's time to send you back to meet your maker.
Here we are, episode number 6, Jaws, and I ended up picking this game because my childhood friend, I used to go over his house all the time, ended up owning this game. And I remember every time I went over there and he was playing it, I would sit down and I'm like, how the hell do you play this game? This just looks so weird. You jump into the water, you know, you're looking for stuff, jump back out. And I didn't realize you were looking for Jaws because I would only, you know, come over and play it a little bit at a time, but I just could not wrap my head around it at that time, which of course I was only, I think, like 9 years old at the time. So yeah, kind of, I thought, okay, this is a game I have to rant on. And I think it turned out pretty good. And you can start to see the show break out of that format where at the very beginning, I go to the beach, you know, I'm building up this game. Oh, there's Jaws on the beach there. So I wanted to do something interesting for each episode, especially with the ending scene. I was trying to get more bigger and better. So here we go, Jaws episode 6.
That's right, it's Jaws. This famous great white shark ruled the oceans in the 1980s. But although this movie may have been great, this game is terrible, and should be placed at the bottom of a turd mountain. Now the task in this game is pretty simple. Go out into the ocean and track down Jaws. So now it's time to batten the hatches and full steam ahead. Now while you're out at sea, it looks like we've hit something. Time to go down and find out exactly what. After diving into the ocean, we find absolutely nothing. Just what the hell did we hit? All I see are jellyfish and stingrays. So that can only mean the game pretty much lied to us in order to get us down here. You dick. And the downside is that once you're in the water, there's no way to get back onto your ship. You're trapped, a prisoner. While you're scuba diving, make sure that you don't touch anything, because if you get hit by something just once, then you're a goner. Ugh, this stupid game. After you kill enough enemies, then it's back to your ship, and your objective now is to reach this other marina. But to do that, you need to have collected 5 shells. If you don't have them, they tell you to fuck off, and that you can't dock in their port.
Now wait a minute, is this supposed to be a marina or a hooker?
Sadly, you'll have no choice but to head back out and kill some more enemies in hopes that they'll drop some shells for you. But let me make it perfectly clear that you've still got the same 2 enemies to fight, and odds are you're gonna get bored pretty damn quick. Wow, I mean wow, this game is boring. This game is just about as boring as going fishing. And I'm not talking about real fishing. I'm talking about black bass fishing. Here's another game that just plain sucks monkey ass. The entire point of this game is to cast out your fishing lure in hopes that you snag a fish. Now, every once in a while, fish will come by, but then it just leaves as fast as it fucking came. Come on, come on. Come on, fish. Fuck. This game is terrible. How is there a market for these shitty games? This game blows. Just get your ass up off the couch and do some real fishing instead of this fake bullshit. But look who's talking. Now once you return to the marina with 5 shells to trade, they end up giving you a radar to track down Jaws. And I'm still baffled as to why this thing is even in the game. First off, Jaws pops up to the surface quite often, so it's not really that hard to find them. And if you insist on tracking Jaws with the radar, then be my guest. Just be prepared to head back into the water every 5 seconds to search for the invisible shit that keeps hitting your boat. Fuck. And the worst part is, they don't even give you the option to dive down or not. They actually force you into the water. What if I don't want to dive into the ocean again? Or what if I always end up with a bad case of swimmer's ear? God, this game just flips my shit. In the game Silent Service, which I still think is the best submarine game out there, you go around and patrol the waters just like you do in Jaws. But they give you the option of either attacking or continuing on your merry way. Having that option in this game would have been a nice feature to have. Once you've gained a few levels, then it's time to complete your mission. And what the hell is this? This is Jaws? How unimpressive is this? Jaws looks like a little shrinky-dink when he should look something like this. Ah, but no matter. Time to take him down. Yeah! So after you fight Jaws for a little while, another shark decides to join the fight. But this one is much smaller and a lot faster. But that's okay because a few shots will take him out. Yeah! What the fuck? Why did my game just switch over to a bonus round? I was clearly having a final battle with Jaws, and I was also only 3 health bars away from winning. Ugh, this game is getting to be goddamn ridiculous. So, once you go back to fight Jaws again, it's time to drain his power completely. Now there's only one more thing left to do, and that's to put a spear right through his heart. Now this can be kinda tricky, and if you fuck up, you have to kill Jaws all over again. Alright, time to take his ass out. Yeah! That's for Jaws 2, and Jaws 3, and Jaws 4, and Jaws 5! Wait a minute, there's no Jaws 5. Well, if they end up making one, then fuck that one too! At last, Jaws is dead, and the ocean is saved once again. Well, until an Exxon tanker decides to drop by. Well, this game right here is truly a masterpiece of shit. The only thing left to do is chuck it into the woods so far that no one will ever find it again. I always hated that dog.
Alright, now here we have Episode 7, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And this game, boy, this was just ripe for reviewing, because this one stuck in my craw for years after playing it. I never officially owned it. I rented it from a rental house one weekend. And back then, when I rented video games from a rental house, I wanted to blast through the game as fast as possible, try to beat it if I could. And this one, I could never seem to find that damn ending. And it was all this looping BS in this game had me so twisted up. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? I remember just playing it that Saturday morning, and the game just went on and on and on. I just gave up. I'm like, screw this. But at the very beginning, I really wanted to build this game up, just like I did with the Jaws episode. I went out to a park. I made it look like I was going through a wooded area, trying to find this Temple of Doom. And of course, when I got to the Temple of Doom, boom, there's the game. So I thought that would be a great intro, which I just loved. For years after, that was one of the intros I was like, yeah, this is perfect. And what I did is I actually turned my garage into the Temple of Doom. And I thought it was so cool because here I am, I was experimenting with lighting, and once I got everything set, the stage looked perfect. I was like, wow, this is great, and on screen it looks even better. So one of the special effects things that I did for this episode was putting the angel and demon on my arm. This was something I wanted to do for the longest time. And one of the things that I was actually doing with the episodes was actually creating these scenes that I would put together in an eventual intro for the show, because I didn't have a standard intro for the show just yet. That came in episode 8. So at the time I was trying to go above and beyond with all these special effects and things like that to incorporate into the intro, because I thought, okay, if people click on my show, I want them to be tuned in like, ooh, which episode is that from? To kind of entice them to watch even more episodes. So that was my thinking. Yeah, here we go. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Well, I got it. Let's play.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Great movie, bad game. And it's a game that could have had a lot of promise too, if someone actually put some effort into it. But they didn't, and it turns out just to be another crappy game to add to the pile. In fact, the game is so bad, it just sort of hangs out there like a rotted testicle. Temple of Doom? More like Temple of Dung. Now you end up playing the game as Indiana Jones, but the weird thing is they just throw you into the game. They start you out with no story, no mission objective, nothing. In fact, the only worthwhile thing for you to do is to go up to these little caves, and little kids will end up giving you items to collect. Now that you've collected some new weapons to add to your arsenal, it should be a piece of cake to use them, right? Well, you'd think so, but the problem with this game is that none of the buttons will change your weapons out. Now if you press the select button, the menu screen will show up and show you your inventory. And sure enough, there's both the gun and the sword I collected. But even pressing all the buttons on this screen does absolutely nothing. In any normal game, the select screen will be the perfect place to switch out your weapon. Let's take the game Legend of Zelda. If you want to select a different weapon or tool, you just go to your inventory screen and select it. And when you do this, it also pauses the game so you don't get hurt. And the method is so easy, even a kid can do it. But this game is an entirely different story. In fact, in order to switch your weapons out, you have to press a combination of buttons which includes the direction pad and the select button at the same time. If you don't end up pressing the buttons just right, you can end up jumping into the fucking lava. And if an enemy is coming at you, you're not possibly given enough time to change your weapon. Shit! I swear this feature makes as much sense as taking a shit in a dishwasher. Look at this shit. After you fall in, everything dissolves except for your hat. So why isn't the hat burned to a crisp? Is it fireproof or what? You know what? I don't give a shit. Fuck the hat. If you go through any one of these doors, you'll find yourself in a mine ride level. But once you reach the other end of the track, you end up right back from where you started from. How the hell did this happen? And exploring the area doesn't help much either, because the oddest thing about some of these levels is that they constantly loop over and over again. Which means if you run off towards the right, you'll eventually come out at the left side of the stage. It's like the old Flintstones cartoons, where the background is looped over and over. Only this time, you're living this nightmare, and there's no way to escape it. But who on earth thought of the idea of looping these levels anyway? It's ridiculous and it's annoying. What the fuck? Now, in order to advance in the game, you must accomplish a series of tasks. You must first find the key on the walking level, and then find the second key on the mine ride level. When you have both of them, you can then unlock this door in order to advance to the next level. With all the puzzle-solving nonsense going on, why the hell did they label this an adventure game? There's hardly any adventure in it. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? If I wanted to play a puzzle game, I would have played something like The Adventures of Lolo. Now this is a game that's been correctly labeled as a puzzle game, and is both fun and challenging at the same time. You know what? That's it. I've had enough of this game. This review is over. Yeah, that's a spirit. Now let's just skip to the part where you destroy this fucking game. Now wait a minute. You can't give up now. You owe it to the viewers to play this entire game and give it a full and just review. Don't let this pansy tell you what to do. Let's just blow this thing up. You be quiet. Now Chris, remember, as a game reviewer, you have an oath to fulfill, and you know it's the only right thing to do. Alright, I'll continue. Just get off my arms, both of you. Ugh. Now if you're gonna shell out money for this game, you might as well just bend over and get anally raped as well, because this game gets even worse. The controls are terrible, and most time pressing the wrong button will send you leaping into the pool of lava down below. Shit! Further in the game, you're going to encounter these little spiders that are so small, they blend very well into the background itself. When you first see them, you'll most likely think it's a glitch in the game, and make the mistake of ignoring them. But make sure you watch out, because these things are deadly, and for some reason, have enough power to knock your ass backwards into a pool of lava. How did these spiders get to be so strong anyway? Why is someone like Indiana Jones such a pushover against little spiders? If this game was called Rick Moranis in the Temple of Doom, I could understand. But Harrison Ford? Come on! Now once you get to the last level, you finally get to cross that infamous bridge from the end of the movie. After all this shit I had to put up with, I really hope to see one spectacular ending. Wait a minute. You win? Just what the fuck is this shit? That's it? This is complete bullshit. This is the worst ending I've ever seen in my life. Wait a minute. That's it? That's the ending? What a piece of shit. Blow it to hell. You heard him? Blow it sky high. Well, a reviewer's gotta do what a reviewer's gotta do. Alright guys, so here we are, episode 8, Super Mario Bros. 2. Now for a lot of fans, I know this was their jumping on point because this was a video that ended up getting featured on YouTube. And at the time, I was the only person that ever got featured on YouTube. And back then, if you got featured on YouTube, especially in the gaming section, your video went everywhere. It was on the side of the video, it was on the bottom of the video. This was before, they started pushing everybody in their suggested videos. They didn't have suggested videos back then. If you got featured, that was being suggested. So I went everywhere, and overnight, I went from, I think I had almost 1,000 subscribers up to about 11,000 subscribers. I went from number, in the tier system, like 150 all the way up to number 2. And when that happened, all those other video game reviewers, they were pissed because there was a pecking order. Everybody knew who was on top banana, second banana, all the way down. And when I went all the way to the top, I really upset that apple cart. People were pissed, the fans were pissed, and that's when the whole onslaught of hate really began. And I became numero uno on the hate list. Now, when I say this episode was featured, it wasn't featured right away. This episode was out for a couple months, and it wasn't until around the time frame of when I released my Ninja Turtles review that YouTube featured this video on their platform. And when it did, my God, the hate. I just was not prepared for the onslaught that came at me. I mean, sure, my fan base was exploding, but the haters exploded as well. It took me off guard. I didn't know how to react, so I didn't react at all. And I think that even made them even madder because I wouldn't address, the whole Irate Gamer avgn feud, because I knew anything I would say back then would be twisted. And because that's what would happen. Anything I did say back then got twisted. So I just kept my mouth shut. And for better or worse, I have no idea, but boy, these guys, they ran my name through the mud. I couldn't Google myself.
They slandered me, they lied about me, they spreaded all this disinfo. I mean, some of the stuff I read, I'm like, where did they come up with this? They gave me a lot of credit of being this evil mastermind where I was like, what? I'm just putting on a show. I don't know. You're reading way too much into this. People were spreading so many rumors about me and spreading them as actual fact. I actually had to Google myself and go through a very deep search and expunge all my information off the internet because before I did the Irate Gamer, I had a wedding videography business, and my phone number was floated out everywhere, so I had to go through and take all that off the internet because I was starting to get prank phone calls. It was bad. I mean, there's stuff that happened to me I won't publicly talk about. But after something like this happens and you go through something like this, you really start to see how the world works. And this ultimately led me to research psychology. It was very interesting to me because I was like, well, why are people acting like this? It's so weird. So I really gravitated to psychology, and of course, I use that now in my ghost studies, which has opened so many doors. So it's a double-edged sword, unfortunately, but it kind of led me on the path where I need to be now. So kind of interesting. And even with the ending of this episode, I think this episode, it was very popular at the time, but man, haters really pointed to this episode because at the very end, I introduced the evil gamer into this whole thing, which, of course, this was supposed to be a one-time thing. I had no idea that I would kind of expand his story in subsequent episodes, but at the very end of this episode, I had a couple lines in there where I was like, I'm going to destroy the original and take over. And it just drove me nuts because all the haters watched that and read into it like, he's talking about James in this, where this thing could have been more innocent. This was just a plot device that I wanted to incorporate in between these two gamers trying to play the game. So yeah, they twisted and mangled everything that I tried to have fun and put out there. So that's, of course, one of the reasons why I just kept my mouth shut about everything, because I knew everything I would say would be twisted. And like I said, they give me way too much credit. I was just a goofball guy just putting out videos, and they thought I was this evil, calculated genius. And I chose this game because this was the one game in the Super Mario franchise that always stuck out like a sore thumb. And when I went back and started researching the history of how this game came to be, I was just blown away. I had no idea that Super Mario Bros. 2 was just a copy of another game in Japan, which, I talk about in this video. But when people saw this video, they had no idea either. This was when the gaming community was in its infancy, and nobody really knew this. So when I put it out there, people were just like, what? And that's why it was featured and went on to be one of the biggest videos of Season 1.
Mario is perhaps one of the most recognized video game icons of all time, and that could be mainly because they packaged each Nintendo system with the game Super Mario Bros. It quickly became one of the most popular games on the NES, spawning many sequels released in the following years. But when you line up all the Super Mario games in order, one of them just sticks out like a sore thumb, and that game is Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, I know what you're thinking, that I'm just going to sit here and bash Super Mario Bros. 2. But hear me out, because I've got my reasons. No, I don't really hate Mario 2, but when you compare it to the other Mario games, this game just has ass written all over it. First off, there's nothing remotely familiar in this game that was included in the previous ones. There's no coin boxes, no Goombas, no turtles, and worst of all, the ending boss isn't even King Koopa. Instead, we are treated to a whole new cast of goofy and oddball characters, things like Sniffits, Shy Guys, and Bob-ombs. And the real shit shocker is that the villain of the previous game has now been replaced by a fat frog named Wart. This makes no sense whatsoever. Now when you start this game, you'll have the choice of picking between 4 different characters, all with their own special abilities. Mario is the regular fighter, Luigi is the high jumper, Princess Peach can hover in the air for extended periods of time, and Toadstool, well, he's pretty much worthless. Once you select your player, it's time to start the game, and you do so by falling from a door in the sky. Exactly how a door got up there in the first place is way beyond me, but once you land, you'll notice that the gameplay has been totally altered. First, they did away with the ability to smash your enemies. Instead, you'll have to pick them up and toss them at other enemies in order to kill them. Secondly, this game is only a one-player game. It's totally different from the original in which you could play 2 players.
Hey man, mind if I play? Sorry man, this is just a one-player game. Well shit!
Another thing that just pisses me off is the game starts you off with a 2-heart health meter. And every time you get hurt, they take away an entire heart. Now, I wouldn't mind this so much, but they make it very hard to replenish your health. In the first Mario Bros. Game, it was really simple. All you had to do was just pound away at coin boxes until you ended up finding a mushroom. But with the second game, they decided to make things much harder. It's only after you kill a certain amount of enemies that a heart will float up from the bottom of the screen. Well, big fucking whoop. Doing it this way is just stupid. And remember that invincibility star? Well, yeah, they pretty much fucked that whole thing up too. Instead of now finding the star, you'll have to go around and collect 5 cherries that are scattered around the level. And after you collected that 5th cherry, you gotta wait for it. Ugh, look at this shit. Could it move any slower? I can take a shit faster than this. Finally! And while we're at it, this game could really use a lot more power-ups too. Some spots of this game are so overcrowded with enemies, it's insane. But luckily, there are a few places in this game you can hide so enemies can't get to you. Oh come on! He walked right through the fucking cactus! You know, shit like this that just makes me go from 0 to pissed off in 2.5 seconds. Now once you reach the ending of the level, you're usually greeted by this big dopey pink bird that shoots eggs at you. The first one you come to is pretty easy to kill, but you'll meet a lot more of them as the game advances, and they become harder and harder to defeat. During the course of this game, you'll end up fighting over 15 of these fucking birds, and I swear by the end, I just want to reach through the screen and beat the shit out of this bitch!
Get over here!
At the end of the game, you'll finally meet up with the last boss, Wart, who ends up just really being a pushover. All you have to do is throw vegetables at him when his mouth is open, and he'll choke on him and die. And yet again, giving kids another reason not to eat their vegetables. After winning, the game then switches over to Mario, who is in bed, and it turns out that he has just been dreaming up this entire game. You know, I wish I was dreaming up this entire game, because it fucking sucks! Compared to the other Mario games, I don't even know how this one even fits in. You've got dream worlds, frogs, rats throwing bombs, Shy Guys, potions. What the fuck? Now, if you think this review is over, then think again, because a few years later, Nintendo released a game called Super Mario All-Stars for the SNES. This was a collection of all the Super Mario titles for the NES, which included giving them new backgrounds and music upgrades. These games were Mario 1, 2, 3, and a bonus game called Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Lost Levels? Wait a minute, there are lost levels? Where on earth did they find these things? And how exactly did they become lost in the first place? Well, the title is very misleading, because after doing some research, it turns out that this game is in fact the real Super Mario Bros. 2. Released only in Japan, this game continues where the first one left off. All the same enemies, power-up items, even the maps look the same. This game right here is the perfect predecessor to the first Mario game. But with that being said, we are now left with a problem here. If this was the original Mario 2, then where the hell did our Mario 2 come from? I mean, games like this just don't appear out of thin air. What the hell? This mystery is very confusing, but we must get to the bottom of it. And after doing even more research, I found something that is guaranteed to flip some shit. Years earlier, a game was released called Doki Doki Panic. It started off with two kids getting pulled into a book by a green hand, and the heroes of the game going in after them. Now, the introduction may not look familiar, but once you start the game, you will be amazed. Holy shit! This looks pretty damn familiar. In fact, it's the exact same game. And we're not just talking about copying the layout of the levels, everything has been stolen. The enemies, the music, power-ups, everything. If you compare both these games side by side, you'll see it's the exact same video game. Ugh, unfucking believable. Even the characters in this game have the exact same abilities as the characters in Mario 2. I mean, look, here's Mario, Luigi, Princess, and yeah, even the worthless Toad. Now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, because they did change and upgrade a few things from the original. Like, instead of turtle shells, you pull out weird looking heads. And the water flows a lot faster in this game than the Mario clone. But even with that being said, what the fuck? These two games shouldn't have anything in common. It's unclear as to why they copied it in the first place, but many have speculated that the real Mario 2 game was just too much like the first one. And I guess that's understandable, because having two of the same thing could get stale and repetitive. Yep, stale and repetitive. Now, I was never a big fan of Super Mario 2, but a few years ago, they released it again, and this time for the Game Boy Advance. Super Mario 2 was given a complete makeover, and the end result is amazing. I can honestly say that for the first time, this truly feels like a Mario game. They totally revamped all the levels, included a lot more power-ups, mixed it with some interesting enemies, and now finding hearts to replenish your health is so much easier. So now that we have the newer version, we can now destroy the original. That's exactly what I was thinking. What the hell do you think you're doing? Face it, your reviews suck. I'm taking over and destroying the original. But you can't do that. Just watch me. Time for some flower power. What? Whew. That was a close one. Where am I?
Well, looks like I have another minion to torture.
I'm getting you for this. Ah!
Alright, so here we are with episode number 9, M.U.S.C.L.E. Probably not the best follow-up to Super Mario Bros. 2, which was very iconic, but I always played M.U.S.C.L.E. when I was little. I think I owned it, and I hated it. The only reason I got it was because I used to collect those little M.U.S.C.L.E. figures. And one of the iconic lines from this episode was, "What the fuck is a muscle?" Because when I was a kid, nobody knew what these little muscle things were. Yet, once the internet was very prominent, you started to research the background of what muscles were, and it's like, hey, it's these things called kinnikuman that came from Japan. Had no idea. So the only reason I picked this video was back in that time, in a now deleted video, I ended up asking my fans at the time what they would like to see me review next. And it was kind of a cheesy video where it was the intro to Mario 2, and instead of the 4 selectable players, I had 3 video games that they could select, and in the comments I would tally up all the scores and see what they wanted me to play. One of those games was M.U.S.C.L.E, and people wanted me to review M.U.S.C.L.E the most, so it got picked. I've been trying to rack my mind on what the other 2 games were. I can't remember. But I remember James reviewed them right after that, so I don't know if that was a shot at me, like, hey, if you're going to steal my thing, I'm going to steal the games you want to review. I don't know if that was kind of like a shot over the bow or what, but kind of weird how that all worked out. But with this episode, this is the first time we get to see the character of Tony. This was an episode that I really wanted to try my hand at including an animated character into the Irate Gamer show, and I'm like, well, what do I use? I want to use a video game sprite, but I want a character that's reoccurring that I create. And the only thing out there at the time that was appealing to me was this new thing, this new online game called Maple Story. They had a billion different characters you can customize. I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect. I'll just use that character and use him, you know, when I need him. Which later, when I had an artist update him into what he is now. So for this episode, this remastered episode, I ended up taking all the scenes of Tony and replacing them with the updated version of Tony, just to kind of streamline the character all throughout these remastered episodes. And remember, back then, man, I had the jankiest software that I was trying to animate this guy with. And back then, I was using the video editing program, I think it was Video Studio, one of those versions, early versions. Man, that thing, I got so many illegal operation shutdowns that I just wanted to pull my hair out, and I lost hours and hours of work over the course of using that software. But yeah, I was using the software in ways it was not intended just to pull off this show. But looking back on it, I think I did a good job. And yeah, I just, you don't realize the struggle of those early software programs. But here we go, M.U.S.C.L.E.
There were a lot of obscure games back in the day for the NES. Some that were downright awful. But is there anything worse than the game M.U.S.C.L.E? I mean, what the fuck is a muscle? Before reviewing this putrid game, let's talk about where it came from. Remember these little guys from the 1980s? Well, these are pretty much the same thing that the game is based off of. See the resemblance? These little figures were wrestlers that came from a cartoon show called M.U.S.C.L.E. Now, you may not have heard of this show back then because it aired only in Japan. Okay, so let's recap here for a second. We got toys and video games from a show that's not even shown here in the US. Who's the asshole who thought up this idea? And did they get fired because of it? If not, I'm gonna have to go back in time again and take care of business. Well, let's just pop this in and start the game. At the startup screen, they give you 8 fighters to pick from. Now this is way before the days of NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat, which pretty much started the hidden characters trend in games. So what you see here is pretty much it. But even if they had 100 more characters in this game, it wouldn't have made a bit of difference, because everyone ends up looking like a different colored blob of pixels anyway. And out of all these cool characters they could have used, they end up picking up the most boring and unoriginal characters I've ever seen. Now, I'm sure they probably picked these guys due to their importance to the cartoon show, but come on, wouldn't you have loved to play as this guy? Or how about this guy? Imagine this guy in the ring. So after picking your fighter and beginning, it's pretty much all downhill from here. The only thing you can do in the ring is punch, jump, slam, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the time you just hop around like idiots trying to land a blow. This game just sucks balls. And to prove my point, we should probably get a second opinion from a wrestling fan. And we just happen to have one for our special guest today. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, bang-a-lang.
So, what do you think of this game?
It's terrible. I wipe my ass with it.
Try as I might, there's actually not one good thing I could say about this game. First off, there's no background music whatsoever. We aren't even treated to sounds from fans cheering or booing. In fact, they just sit there motionless, probably being bored stiff by such a captivating match. What would save this game now would be having announcers. Well, something like this. Welcome, wrestling fans! We are broadcasting live from the Muscle Dome! Thank you for joining us because we have one hell of a match lined up. Both competitors are ready to go head-to-head with each other, and there's no telling what might happen. So now let's go ringside, and because the fight looks like it's going to begin. Oh, this looks like a slobber knocker here, folks. Oh my god, this is crazy! Look at that! A punch! A blow! My god, this is incredible! Man, they're taking each other out to the woodshed! Wow, just riveting. Another feature in this game is that it's a 2-player game, just in case you decide to subject one of your friends to this torture as well. Hey, wanna play?
Hell no. This is the worst wrestling game of all time. Where's the pyros? The entrance music? I love intro music. If you smell...
Okay, that's enough.
Bang-a-lang!
Well, from here on out, there's pretty much nothing else to comment on, because what you're looking at right here is pretty much it. Yep, this is the only screen you'll be staring at the whole entire game. I mean, playing this game, you could tell they put no effort into it whatsoever. Let's compare it to the game Pro Wrestling, which came out around the same time. This is a vast improvement from M.U.S.C.L.E. The fighters are not blocky, you can fight outside the ring, and they even have enough room to fit in not only a referee, but a cameraman as well. And when you win, the crowd goes nuts. Well, as nuts as an 8-bit crowd can get. Or let's take the game Ring King. You can just tell that they spent a lot more time on the background and the characters in this game. And in between rounds... What in the fuck? Are those guys getting blowjobs? I thought this was supposed to be a kid's game.
Whoa, now that's just wrong, brother.
Now, as you know, Nintendo puts a seal on every game that meets their approval. But this game is an abomination to this seal. It's not even worthy of the seal of dog shit. This game is the dumbest, most vile, repulsive, anal-raping, fecal-flinging, ass-ramming, toe-jerking, vomit-inducing piece of shit I've ever played in my life. It's not even worthy of my time. And it belongs in the trash. Hey, keep your freaking trash out of here! Okay, so here we are with episode number 10, the Ninja Turtles review, where I reviewed all 3 of them for the NES. I really liked this episode. It was another major milestone for the character and the development of the show. I know a lot of people took from this episode to compare me to James and saying, oh, you ripped off, but again, this was a time where the Super Mario Brothers wasn't even featured on YouTube yet. After I put this episode out, then the Super Mario Brothers review was featured, and then that's why they compared Ninja Turtles, my Ninja Turtles review, to James. This was the one episode they always pointed to, like, oh, look. And this was an episode where haters were just starting to become aware of who I was, because I think they didn't want any competition to the nerd. They just wanted the nerd to exist, and that was all. They didn't want anybody else stealing his thunder. And with me having a film background, look, there were tons of reviewers out there doing angry reviews, but I was pretty much the only one that had a film background who knew how to use special effects and animate sprites into my videos and just do all these interesting things just like James was doing. When it came down to production value, I think I was the only one that could really stand toe-to-toe with the guy. But one of the funniest things I have to say was one of the haters. I watched his video, and he was pissed off with the intro where I had 4 of me show up in the Ninja Turtle slots in the arcade game. And I remember this hater was like, oh look, Irate Gamer's trying to be all 4 Ninja Turtles now. What the hell? And I don't remember his exact words, but I laughed my ass off. I'm like, wow, dude, I'm just trying to have fun with this episode. You're reading way too much into it. I'm all 4 Ninja Turtles now. That's why he was pissed. So funny. And the other thing that people pointed to was the way I shadowed the pizza in the corner, because I guess James did the exact same thing. Back then, you could email people on YouTube, and I remember the one response that I always give people was, all right, next time I will shade, instead of using a circle to shadow the pizza, I'll use a square next time. And that used to piss them off so bad. They'd be like, oh, screw you. But yeah, it's true. So yeah, next time I will use a square. But all right, so here we go. Ninja Turtles for the NES. The Ninja Turtles arcade game became an instant classic after showing up in arcades everywhere in the 1980s. For fans and gamers alike, it was a video game masterpiece. The graphics were awesome, the levels were fun as hell, and the icing on the cake was that you and 3 other people could play all 4 turtles all at the same time. This was the coolest feature of this entire game, fighting alongside 3 strangers who all fought for a single purpose, to beat down old Shredhead. Of course, in order to get the Shredder, you'd have to hack and slash your way through tons of foot soldiers, but getting there was half the fun. This game right here was everything a Turtles fan could ask for. In fact, the only bad thing I could say about this game is that you died just a little too quickly. Oh yeah, the infamous shell shock. Who could forget that sound? Even dying was cool as shit. Hell, if every game was like this one, I'd be out of a job. A few months later, they decided to release a Ninja Turtles game for the Nintendo system. After such an awesome arcade game, this one was highly anticipated. But just hold the fucking phone here, because this was far from the game anyone expected. In fact, it was downright terrible. Upon starting the game, you'll find yourself walking around the city. 5 seconds? It's gonna be some kind of record. Alright, let's try this again. You find yourself walking around the city, and they end up giving you this weird overhead view of the character until you go down into the sewers. But instead of this game being 4 players, they decided to scale it back to a 1-player game. And you can switch out any of the 4 turtles whenever you feel like it by pressing the select button. Each turtle has the exact same abilities, and there's no difference between them except their weapon. Both Donatello and Leonardo end up becoming the most powerful characters since they both use long-range weapons. So odds are you'll be using them the most. But this also means they'll probably be the first to die. And when you're down to just Raphael and Michelangelo, who are both poor fighters, you might as well just turn off the game right now, because it's only a matter of time before you get your ass handed back to you on a plate. Fuck! I hate this game! Now let's talk about stage bosses, because this game has some real winners. You know you have a great game on your hands when the ending boss just stands in the corner while you beat the living shit out of him. But if you think that's bad, then check this out. Choose Donatello, jump on the crates to the right, and just beat him with your bow. And for some reason, he only gets hurt when he ducks down lower than he already was. Doesn't this defy some law of physics? It kinda reminds me of this rooftop bullshit. Jump from the wrong place, and you go falling to the ground. Ugh. Now let's try this again. Oh, come on, are you kidding me? Finally! Now some of these levels have way too many enemies to fight off. And the real shit shocker is after you kill all the bad guys and turn around, they all magically reappear! What the fucking shit? Now I've gotta kill them all again? And talking about enemies, what the fuck is up with the enemy selection in this game anyway? Eyeball plants? Rocket pack flyers? Guys on fire? Do you ever remember seeing these guys from the cartoon? Because I sure the hell don't. Either that, or else I missed the episode where Leatherface comes to visit. I'm not sure who the hell was in charge of designing the enemies, but I'm pretty sure it might have been the same jackass who designed the levels. Damn it! Just what the fuck were they thinking when they placed a pizza box way down here? Now, just how the hell am I supposed to get to this in time? If I go for it, I end up dying. So what's the reason for this? What a bunch of ass burgers with a side of fries! And who the hell could forget the infamous underwater level? I guarantee that anyone who's ever played this game has been probably scarred by the painful memories of trying to pass this nightmare of a level. First off, they give you a little over 2 minutes to try and disarm 8 bombs. Now, if you're just allowed to disarm the bombs, it wouldn't be a problem. But instead, they had to make it much more challenging. And they made it challenging, alright. They made it damn near fucking impossible. They ended up filling this level with all kinds of shit. Electric wires, killer plants, rotating spikes, electrical seaweed. God, the electrical fucking seaweed. Just touch it and you get massively drained of energy. Ugh, you guys suck. And if that wasn't enough, in this section, they leave only a small space for you to try and swim through. Now in any other game, I probably could have taken my time to swim through it safely. But, oh, I'm sorry, I've only got 1 more minute to disarm 6 more fucking bombs. I don't have time to deal with this bullshit. I hate this fucking level. What a piece of cowabunga shit! Now, I'm not sure if the backlash of this game was overwhelming or what, but soon after they decided to release a sequel, and this time they took it directly from the source of video game greatness. Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Now we're talking, and they should have done this right from the start. So after popping the game in and starting, you'll find out that it's just another huge letdown. I mean, what the hell is this? This is the arcade game? What a pixelated nightmare! And in order to bring this game onto the NES, they had to strip it of every cool feature that made it fun. Flashy intro? Gone. Cool graphics? Gone. 4-player mode? Gone. Oh, come on, and that was the best feature! So if all these things are missing, then where do they get off calling this the arcade game? If they wanted to be honest about it, they should have called it Ninja Turtles 2, the suck-ass poor man's version of the arcade game, because that's exactly what it is. Now in this game, you can only play a 1 or 2 player game, and the worst part is that your turtle can only punch, kick, and drop kick. For a game that takes over an hour to defeat, this gets very boring. And when you die, that's it, game over. They don't even give you the option of continuing exactly where you left off, like in the original arcade game. Instead, they give you the option to restart at the beginning of the level. Ugh, what a piece of shit. Another annoying thing is this product placement bullshit. In almost every level of this game, you'll end up finding a logo for Pizza Hut. And I guess it's because the turtles eat pizza, right? Oh, okay, well, just be sure to look out for these other corporate logos as well. Now everybody raves about this game because of the 2 extra levels that they included in this version. Well, la-di fucking da. These levels suck, and adding them was pointless and stupid. In fact, during the middle of the game, the New York Zoo magically freezes over, and at the end of the level, you end up fighting off a polar bear that looks like the cross between Joe Camel and Spuds MacKenzie. Now I would have gladly done without these extra levels, if they just used the extra space to make the game closer to the arcade version. Face it, this game sucks, it's boring, and it's stupid. Shell shock? I'll give you fucking shell shock! After producing 2 shitty games, they decided to release one more game for the NES. Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. Now this game kinda looks just like the second one, but with a lot of improvements. The overall graphics have been improved on, and it's also refreshing to see new ending bosses that hardcore fans are familiar with. The cool part about this game is that if you die, you can select a different turtle to play before returning to the game. A very nice feature. And to be totally honest, this game is actually enjoyable. So, I guess it would be kinda worthwhile to have this game in your collection. On second thought, fuck it. Because if you're gonna own a Ninja Turtles game, then this one's an absolute must. Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Released only on the Super Nintendo, this game turns out to be as cool and as fun as the original arcade game. The graphics are awesome, the enemies are great, and the levels are totally tubular. The only downside is that you can only play with 2 players, but hell, with a game as good as this, it's something I'll gladly overlook. Too bad it took 4 tries just to get it right. Sadly, the original Turtles arcade game never appeared in its full glory on the Super Nintendo. But at least we have this one, so... Well, I gotta get going. I gotta play me some Donkey Kong.
Alright, so here we are at the very last episode of Season 1, Yo Noid. And I never did play this as a kid. I wanted to review this because I had always been a fan of the Noid, the old commercials from the 80s and 90s. And I just wanted to bring some love back to the Noid. He was so iconic. And right now, later I ended up getting the little pop figure they made of the Noid. And they just brought him back for 2021 and a couple of the commercials. So that's just so nostalgic. I love it. And with this episode, I thought, using a Noid, a branded type video game, would be a perfect vehicle to show that, hey, I'm selling out, I've got shirts now. Because I started to get a very substantial fan base. This was a big turning point for the show. I got a fan base. I had enough episodes for a DVD, so that released. And I ended up closing the season out here at this point because I felt like the show needed to reach that next step. You know, what is that next step? You know, the show, we had seen its infancy, grown up since then, and I felt this was the perfect cutting off point between season 1 and 2. So yeah, that's why I ended it there. And you could see even in the leaderboards that I was getting on, you know, every time I released a video, I was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. With the Ninja Turtles episode, that's where it really began, because the Mario 2 review ended up getting featured, and my Ninja Turtles review ended up becoming the 37th most viewed video on YouTube. With Noid, it became the 24th viewed video. With Zombies Ate My Neighbors, the 12th episode, that became the 11th most viewed episode. Tetris became the 8th most viewed episode, and then Contra ended up becoming the 7th most viewed video on YouTube, which was the coolest honor that I could have ever gotten. Yeah, it was just quite the time. Amazing. So, yeah, with this episode, I brought Evil Gamer back. I never thought, like I said, he was a one-time thing that I wanted to incorporate into the show. And I thought, I could do something with him because, you know, there's 2 Noids, there's 2 Irate Gamers, essentially. So I brought him back, and it kind of worked out with the little sprites of the lemmings. And let me tell you, to animate lemmings dropping off this cliff in this janky software that I was using, my God, it was very, very time consuming. I don't know how I pulled it off, but I did. Yeah, with that, this is the last episode, and I gotta say, you know, last year, I used to cringe at the thought of all my season 1 episodes, but really doing these remastered series, it's brought a love of season 1 back into my life that I hadn't had there for a long time. And it's mainly because of the haters. I think they hated on it so much. In my own mind, I began to believe some of their hater rhetoric. And I'm like, season 1's terrible. But I went back to remaster these. I'm like, wow, these are pretty damn good. I don't know what the hell all the hubbub was. I mean, yeah, James was doing the exact same thing, but it was still a good show. It was a great alternative, kind of like, you know, all the late night shows that are on TV. So kind of cool looking back. It's kind of classic YouTube history now, and it was such a fun time looking back on these episodes. Thank you for watching. Noid.
Pizza. You stay away. I'm warning you. It's time to avoid the Noid. Anyone who grew up in the 1980s most likely remembers the pizza commercials featuring the Noid. Now, the Noid was a goofy-looking character made out of clay, and his mission in life was to try and ruin pizzas made by Domino's, which he always failed miserably at doing. Now, the commercials were cool and all, but whose bright idea was it to give this guy his own video game? I mean, talk about selling out. You know this was a disaster just waiting to happen.
Let's first take a look at this title, Noid. So I guess just calling it The Noid didn't have enough pizzazz to it. How stupid. This makes as much sense as calling my show Yo Irate Gamer. Yo.
Now when you start the game, you're told that you must defend the city from the Noid's evil twin. Hey, I got an evil twin. You know, I wonder how he's doing. I hate this place. I gotta get out of here. But how? At the startup screen, you're told that the city is in danger, and the mayor of the city knows that the only person that can save them is the Noid. Now, what mayor in their right mind would rely on a guy who destroys pizzas for a living to save his city? So unless we're talking about the fucking Mayor McCheese, I'm not buying it.
And while we're at it, who the fuck spells mayor with an ER?
Boy, we're off to a great start.
Now this game is pretty damn pathetic, and everything in this game just pisses me off.
For one, it's not even set up like a normal game, and it's also frustrating as fuck.
Shit!
and expect to die often. I cannot stress this enough. Shit, 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 shit. This game is the biggest piece of crap. You know, it really would have helped out if they added a heart system or something to make it a bit easier. But for God's sake, even a puff of smoke will kill your ass. What the fuck? Now, if you manage to complete the level, a different colored Noid will challenge you to a pizza eating contest. Contest? Just how the hell is this supposed to save the day? So while the city is being burned to the ground, I'm stuck here having a fucking pizza eating contest. And let me just let you in on a little secret. These are your stage bosses. And don't mess up, because sometimes when you lose, they make you redo the entire level over. What kind of shit is that? And see this clock over here? Well, they'll even send you back to the beginning of the level if you take way too long picking out your pizza. You snooze, you lose? Well, shit on a motherfucking stick! Now, besides this game being hard to play, some of the things in this game will actually kill you without even touching you. What a crock of shit! Just look how far away the water is from this platform. So how the hell did I just die here? Now, there are 14 stages in this game, and at the end of each level, you'll have another pizza eating contest just waiting for you. Ah, great. And the worst part is, they won't even let you bypass any part of this thing to make it go quicker. Even if you go nuts by pressing all the buttons, you've just gotta sit there like a bitch and take it. You know, Domino's has a lot of nerve selling out, and slapping their name on such a crappy product just to make money. What? What's this? An endorsement check from Domino's? Well, what do I know? Maybe selling out isn't such a bad idea. I mean, after all, a logo can go a long way. Now, I may have been just a little too harsh on this game, because I do remember seeing a poll from the most popular games for the NES, and I think I recall seeing Yo Noid ranked up there with Mario 3 and Legend of Zelda. And this game really isn't that bad. If you die, it just means you suck and are bad at it. But remember, don't get mad, get Gladlock zipper bags. Now let's take a look at this icy world, which has these crazy platforms. If you jump on these platforms, you'll slide right off. Now you may think that this is a bad thing, but it will actually help you in the long run with your hand-eye coordination. This game even brings something new to the table by having a whole level where you ride around in a small helicopter made for one. Wow, cool and inventive! Finally, if you're good enough, you'll come to the last boss, and it's a card game to the finish. And after all this game put you through, there's no doubt that your victory will give you one incredible ending. Wait a minute, that's it? After 14 stages of enemies and pointless card games, this is the best they could do? And what the hell is he doing anyway? What an ever-loving piece of rat-flinging bullshit! How could I have ever endorsed such a shitty game? Well, I'm done with this endorsing garbage. I'm irate, damn it, and the only one I'm selling out to is myself. That's right, Irate Gamer's back, baby.
The Irate Gamer t-shirts are now available on theirategamer.com. Shirts may be considered illegal in Florida, Rhode Island, and Texas. May cause irreversible damage to the kidneys and liver, and should not be taken with alcohol.
Yo, Noid? Yo, fuck yourself. My escape is at hand! Go, my slaves!
Let's go!
Wait a minute, stop! Stop! No! Ugh, stupid lemmings.